This is Reverend Ruth Ansari Bar with Angel Healing Ministries. And hello, and how are you today? Today is a Saturday, and it is the 4th of the 4th of March, and we're moving quickly into spring. It's taking time. I mean, we've had a couple of cold days, things like that, but we're working our way up. In the meantime, though, my friends, our mission statement is we are here to guide you on your path to find God while we support you with love and light and show you how important truth and faith are on your path back to God and show you how important truth and faith are on your path back to God. And I also speak about faith all the time as something very important in our lives because faith is what motivates us, keeps us going and moving forward. And there's so many other things too in life that help us do the same thing. And I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, and I took me a while to get back to this. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I had a couple of things I wanted to bring up, and I mentioned acceptance, and then I mentioned delayed gratification, and that's what I'd like to talk about today, which is delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is pretty popular for some people. But most mentors have taught this as well as a lot of successful business owners and things like that, CEOs, and our guides have taught us all this because delayed gratification, my friends, is something that it's accepting everything's going to take time to reach your dream. Now, my dad and my spiritual dad were very good that way. They both taught me that hard work is important in life and that we're supposed to, keep going forward and keep going strong with that. And but hard work is an important part of life because we need to do the hard work. But there was also the talk of the fact that as well as having managing to have fun in between all that as well. Now, my dad was especially a hard worker, and we hardly ever saw him pretty much basically. But all the hard work that he put into everything, my father, my biological dad, he really made sure our family had plenty stuff, plenty food and plenty and enough just to get us all by. And I mean, that's why we a lot of, he was very careful where the way he spent his money, my father. And he was one of the many people that taught me about delayed gratification as well. And then of course there was Daddy Bert, my spiritual dad. He taught me about the same thing because he also was a very hard worker, but he also taught me that it's good to take time away instead of all work and no play means it just isn't the kind of life one should have. You should always have room to have fun and go out and stuff and do things with friends and family and stuff like that. And one of me and Daddy Bert's favorite pastimes was going for walks by the marina, going hiking while he was still able. But as time went on, things got a little more complicated and challenging, and he went into he went into a home because he could no longer function like he used to. But he did teach me a great deal of stuff. He taught me how to save money and things like that. One of his biggest things that he mentioned, and this also goes with delayed gratification, he told me because my money kept disappearing. I wasn't keeping it in the best way. So he said, we're gonna get a jar and we're gonna put it on the table on that counter over there, and you're gonna put $1 in that jar. And matter of fact, I still have that jar today. We're gonna put $1 in that jar every single day. At the end of every day, if you have $1, he said, put it into the jar at $1. And before I knew it, I was up to a good amount of money with a good which helped me get my bank account back on track again. But I also have a really good friend who's like a sister to me, who was also very good and taught me that too, Jill, and she also taught me about that delayed gratification as well. But but it was also important to go out there and enjoy yourselves as well, as long as you got all the important stuff done and out of the way, the work, whatever chores needed to get done, and you made time for you because we have to do that. And the money that we raised by putting money in there, and when I had good days at work, I would come home from work, and what I would do, I would take extra cash and put that into the same jar, and that jar is behind me. I don't have anything in it right now, um, but it's back here. If you, it's got a couple of coins in it, and I've used it a couple times for a lot of help. Plus, you see, I have a bank over here too. I make coins. I pack them up, and I put them into my bank account later in life, and it helps me build that that I need, which is very important. And we all need some kind of sorry about the moving of the thing here. We all need some kind of financial background, a financial background to keep us going. We need to have some kind of extra money lying around. And I know how difficult it can be when you really want to do something and you can't get it done right away because you just can't. But that's why we talk about delayed gratification, even in like Quick Star and all these other places that where you start your own business, things like that. They also speak about delayed gratification. It's just basically being patient and waiting for your dreams to come to reality. Instead of jumping far ahead and doing something that you regret, taking the steps, taking a look at the way you're supposed to do things. You don't want to overdo, my friends. What you want to do is make sure you have enough to start saving. So what you do, and this is what me and Jill have been doing, we come up with a plan, and we take a certain amount of money out of the paycheck and we stick that into this jar or into a bunch of envelopes of things I want to do, like for Dorrance and for an emergency count. And I put like $5, even if it's just $5 a day or $1 a day, whatever you can afford, putting it aside in envelopes little by little. And for emergency fund for inside, like coins, like you've seen that where people fill jars with coins, and they bring them to like the coin store, or they bring them to their bank where where your coins can be wrapped and put into your bank account. You could do that as well, and you could also just save it like in that little jar, and then when you have a jar halfway full or full, you just take that to one of those coin stores, or you take it to your bank and you cash it in, and the money slowly fills in. And when you have separate envelopes for certain things, you just figure out with a friend what you can afford to do and put that money away. I know it takes a long time and it's easy to get discouraged and stuff like that. And Joel actually talked about this today, how easy it is to get discouraged because you're waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen, and you were told in the past that, oh, it's going to happen, have faith, and all of a sudden 5 years go by, then 10 years go by, still nothing. And then you start getting discouraged, you start hearing that little voice in the back of your head saying, oh, you're never going to make it. You're never going to get well. See what the situation is right now. Look at that. Look at that um, health report that you got there, the doctor's report or hospital report, or you don't have enough money. You're not going to get it because you just don't have the money yet. These are voices that will occasionally come in, and they'll try and convince you otherwise. They will try and make you lose sight of your dream, and there are people that will do that too. They're what we call dream stealers, and they steal your dream. You don't know who they are until they do something to steal it. All you can do for people like that, my friends, is pray for them and hope that they find what they're looking for. Never Don't be mad at them, don't be angry at them. Understand compassion where you're coming from. Have a little compassion for those type of people that, they're dream stealers. It's not very nice, but it's probably because they haven't reached their dream yet and they've lost hope. So what you can do is pray for them, or you can try and do the opposite and tell them to keep hope, to keep faith, because God and Goddess promise a lot. We have a promise made to us by the universe, and the more you put thought to it, the more you think about it in the back of your mind, the sooner it will apply. One of my favorite sayings was from Mark, another one of my mentors, who said, Everything you want and desire is already in the vortex waiting for you. You just haven't reached it yet. And that's the attitude you can keep as well, my friends. You can simply say, okay, it's already in the vortex. Everything that I want and I dream of and desire is all waiting for me in the vortex. Just waiting for me. I just haven't gotten there yet. And remind yourself that you're getting closer each and every day, no matter how long it takes, because it's all about faith, hope, and belief. And the more and the stronger you have that, my friends, the better it will be for you. The better life will, will work itself out for you, my friends. Because God, the God and Goddess want us to have everything we want and desire. We deserve to have all that. But sometimes we have to do delayed gratification. We have to be patient and wait because of maybe mistakes that we've made that you might have made in the past. I know I've made a bunch of mistakes, or I'd be farther along the road. I'd be further along my path where I would be a lot closer to my dream if I didn't make all those mistakes or investments. Because in the past we're young and new things just come to us and we're like, wow, oh my goodness, I want this, that, and the other thing. And we're not thinking of the future. We're not thinking of saving money for our future. We're not thinking that one day I want to be a famous writer. We're not thinking of those things right away until the dream is put in our heart. In our heart. And once that dream is put into our heart by God, then we start to think about it. But all the decisions that we might have made in the past, the mistakes, we all make decisions that were not the right decision, but they seem like the right decision at the time because of the situation you were in. So you made the choice to do things differently, and you didn't consider the consequences back then. So now you have to face the consequences now. And if that means delayed gratification is not being a consequence, but would be what's the word? I want to use it as a positive. Would be the step before you reach the next point in your life that you're going to reach. When we have faith and believe, and we put that delayed gratification into effect, my friends, it's amazing because when you reach that mountaintop, when you reach that cliff top, and you finally reach that dream, you think of, wow. And before you know it, it will be there. If anything, God promises us, they promise us that we will have our dreams and our desires, and that everything that you desire and want is already in the vortex waiting for you. It's already in that path in the world. And a vortex is like a swirl. It's like a pocket of energy that swirls around and upward. And it can do many things. It holds your dreams and your desires as well as protect and help. And when you reach that point in your life, my friends, you'll be amazed on what it feels like. It's like a friend once told me when we were out, we were out up in the country, upstate, and we were in, okay, this was actually an ex-husband, my ex-husband, and this was before things were good. This were where things were still good between us. He said to me that, what is it? Can you actually feel or visualize what it's going to feel like to make it to the top of that cliff? Because I was afraid to climb. At that point I was afraid of heights, and I didn't know if I want to climb. I didn't want to know if I wanted to climb that high up to do it. And he said, imagine what it's going to feel like. He said to me, imagine what I'm going to feel when I reach that point in my life, that point on the mountaintop. And he told me to hold on to that vision. And when I got that vision of reaching that point, I sprinted up that cliff like you wouldn't believe. I found a way up. Like it was like the natural rocks had created like a staircase where I could get up there safely to the top. And it took time, but when I got to the very top of that cliff and looked down, it was just this incredible feeling of finally reaching that point where I reached a goal in life. And that's the same for delayed gratification. You go through steps to get to where you want to go. And it's easy to get discouraged because it's just taking too long to reach that point. But you have to have faith. You have to believe it's going to happen. You have to hold that vision ahead of you of it happening for you. Despite the time it's taking for me to get my book published, my friends, I'm really chilling on this delayed gratification, and I'm taking that time to relax and focus and continue to do the steps that I need to do to have bestseller, because not only does this Yule Tree story, the first one, it's a book in the first in the first 7 books coming up. And I just keep, I've completed the very first book in the series of the Yule Tree, but now I'm also working on the second book in the Yule Tree. Let alone I've gone back to numerology and all that other stuff, because I remembered it was one of the happier times in my life too. And having my weekends back was a blessing. That delayed gratification, working really hard to make the cash I needed to make things happen. And now that I've moved on from that store, I now can focus on the things that I put off for so long. And I'm discovering that I'm more aware, and my clarity is even better than it was. It was good back then when I first started, but it's gotten even better. It's matured over the years because of wisdom and knowledge, and all because I waited and took time. So you see, delayed gratification, my friends, isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. Think of what it's going to do for you when you finally reach that point in your life, my friends, where you finally reach that point, to that point in the vortex where you finally have what you want, that book, that business you wanted to always start. And of course, you're going to have those voices try and intervene and people try and tell you otherwise. But hold to your faith. Know and have faith that Mother, Father, God have got you covered. And that in the divine plan, it's already set for you, my friends. So, my friends, use the delayed gratification as a stepping process to reach that point where you want to be in life, my friends. And when you reach that point, think of the amazement, think of the success you're going to feel, and how wonderful and great you're going to feel, my friends. We love you. Namaste. And if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe. We love you. Namaste. And this is Reverend Ruth on Star Bar with Angel Healing Ministries, once again in my sanctuary. We love you. Namaste. Thanks. Bye.